Good evening, everyone. This is Dan with After Action Review. Tonight we'll be discussing a game from Bloober Team, the masters behind Layers of Fear, Layers of Fear 2, The Blair Witch, and Observer System Redux, with the amazing artwork and style from Stanisław Wyszynski, with dual compositions from two amazing composers, one of those composers being Arkadiusz Rajkowski. He mostly composed all the music for the living side of the world. Second composer took care of most of the otherworld side of the music. Most likely won't need an introduction. You should know him from the famous series Silent Hill, Akira Yamaka. With these individuals in the amazing team at Bloober, they came out with the Medium, this new psychological horror game with dual reality, meaning that you will sometimes see a split screen showing two realities rendered at the same time. Let's go ahead and start discussing a little bit about the game. You start off as the character Marianne. At the start of the game, you slowly start to understand that she is what they call in this world a medium, who has connection from the living world to the afterlife. As the story goes on, this becomes a pivotal resource in your repertoire of tools, not only for escaping, but solving puzzles and understanding the story, and also rectifying issues that you have to play to understand as the story progresses. There is a larger background to this story that you slowly start to understand as the story develops. But after the primary story portion that you deal with in the beginning, you get a phone call from a mysterious stranger that brings you to a facility that is about a Soviet-era workman wellness center. When you arrive there, you discover that things aren't entirely well off because, well, it's a run-down work center after a giant massacre happened there before the story begins. You slowly start to understand that there are many spirits still there in the building. You get to converse with one of them. Her name is Sadness. You also get to solve puzzles by assisting other spirits out of this area to be able to move on in the afterlife. After about a span about 2 to 3 hours into the game, you discover something that is called the Maw, creature created from extreme tragedy on a spirit or a person's soul. But the Maw is not the only time you encounter one of these creatures that has an intense tragedy happening to them that caused their soul to shatter into multiple pieces. You mostly two pieces. Their innocent child side along with their horrendously formed, damned soul that they have. Now that a portion of the story has been explained like that, I'd like to continue on with the graphical look itself. Graphically, to me, the game looks fine. I have no arguments with the way it looks. I do understand that some people say the faces look a little stiff. The dialogue when they're moving their mouth is a little weird. I can understand all of the critiques for the looks, but it does not honestly bother me graphically. So I cannot really say one way or another, the game looks like this, I don't like this about it. The game does a lot of things right, and the look for me works out perfectly fine. But on the upside, I did not run into any bugs, nor glitches, nothing game ending, nothing game crashing. I was able to make it through a complete playthrough without having a large issue that would make me lose save data or have to restart from the beginning or anything like that. Beyond my love of the look of the game when the dual reality is up, the amazing story that just drew me straight in from the start, the daytime composer did an amazing job. He did an amazing job to create an atmosphere. On the other hand, Akira's spirit music was a different animal. It definitely did make you get that Silent Hill vibe very much during those segments, and it really did feel like you were going into something that you were not prepared for every single time it happened. At the same point, I'm going to put a segment here that is the Maw talking. The Maw has been done by Troy Baker, and I'd like to say that he did an incredible job with the Maw's voice, emotions. It's just atmosphere around it completely terrified me. It did its job to make me know that it's going to be a hard traversal to go to the other end where I need to go, but at the same time I knew I just had to get through it to get away from whatever this thing was, because it was hard to tell what was going on since it looked like a giant shade most of the time. But since I'm coming up to pretty much the end of this discussion, I'd like to give this game an 8.5 out of 10. This game was something I was looking for a while, with a Silent Hill feeling to it, along with a really good story behind it and a good narrative to pretty much end on. The one thing I just am not a fan of is how the ending was. Too many open ends. I'm hoping they give us either something to add on to the story or a number 2, because I'd really love to know where this went. This is Dan with After Action Review. If you guys have played it, go ahead and let me know what you guys think of it below. If you guys have not played it yet, do you want to try it now after hearing what I've had to say about it? If not, just let me know. I'll be more than glad to talk to anyone about this game. I'll see you guys in the next one.